November 1st, Selectmen's Meeting, 2021.
I was out scaring trick or treaters, I missed all the time. It's sets.
If you lose the noise, we had it fine.
Right.
Yeah, but you should have seen Facebook, they were complaining about that.
Yeah.
Were they really?
Somebody on Facebook, my wife showed me, she's like, oh, and the selectmen had to politicize Halloween. I was like, we didn't do anything.
Oh, I missed that one.
The rec committee asked us to move it, and
Yeah.
I said,
Out of courtesy, we did.
if that's what the rec committee wants, if Mike and Ted are okay with that, I'm okay with
No,
that.
and somebody actually came back, and they said, well, why did you do it? I didn't know about it. And then one person answered, said, well, we got an email, it was on the Facebook page, on Facebook, and it was on the website.
Yeah.
And they said, if you wanna be on the email, sign up on the website.
Good idea.
And that wasn't a town employee,
And
that's
if we'd had it on the night that we had, we could blame for not giving them raincoats. I mean, you know, how you gonna win?
In the future, set a date, do not try to control the weather. As children, we trick-or-treated many Halloweens in rain.
I was gonna say, I never did when I was.
I'll tell you, Cheryl, we had more kids on our street than we had in years. I mean, our street was
You have about 30 kids?
more, cause I bought 3 boxes of big candy bars.
Well, I
and-
wish I'd known because I was gone till Saturday night. And I had candy, so it was on Friday, so I have all my candy.
Your street
Well, that's a good
lends
way to do
itself because of the circle. It's a good,
I'll have the 2 grandsons put on a ski mask tomorrow.
I was gonna call the Lees and say, go get the candy.
Well, Epping has voting tomorrow, so they have no school, so we have them.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. that's
They
right.
use their schools for.
Yeah, a lot of places do.
They're a town.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing, but
Did they become a city?
I don't think so.
No, seriously, you know how they switch?
Yeah.
they are the center of the universe.
That's the reason
I know Portsmouth schools are closed tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
a lot of the schools are used for polling, they have, you know.
And the 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes.
No.
No,
Give us the go signal. Laura.
I saw Gail rush in just before the kids showed up on Friday. There was quite a gang of kids coming down that street, wasn't it?
Always is.
You get all the grinding in Denmark, right? All
Oh,
the grinding on the roads, all done, I think.
good. I haven't checked Shabbat, but
Yeah.
I was just shouting.
This was done.
Over here it's done, yeah.
Yeah.
great.
I saw that dust flying around.
Looks good.
That stretch of Shattuck really needed it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think they went to Shattuck today.
Huh?
But it is,
I think they did this in Little Bay Road and that's it.
Yeah.
Cause Little Bay Road in McIntyre was shut
Yeah, the
down.
boys had done it earlier, 'cause I drove over it, done it earlier.
well, that stretch of Little Bay, right from where the new construction ended.
Right.
And back to that really needs to do.
When I came down Shattuck,
Did it,
there was,
I haven't been that shed.
Well, they gotta transport that equipment too, so I can see them doing the 2 close ones and then doing the further one.
Well, that was our concern when people asked us why we weren't spending the money to do the roads, and I said, why do that? They're gonna beat up with the big heavy trucks, lugging all that, was what dirt out of here. That's like defeating the purpose, you know, that's why we didn't do it.
Wait till Portsmouth Water goes out to Fox Point.
Yeah.
Should be interesting.
Water, same trouble again. You know, they said yes. I told Arsenal, when they said yes, you should have had a contractor over there put in a 10-foot piece of pipe and cap it. Then you would own it. I said, and he goes, yeah, I should. He didn't. Then Portsmouth Water changed their mind, now they're back to no again. So I told Brandon, I saw him the other night, I said, what did I tell you about that 10-foot piece of pipe? He says, I should have listened to you.
Learn the hard way sometimes, get back to bitch.
But we sent a letter for Radigan.
Yeah.
They don't wanna talk to us, they don't wanna talk to our lawyer.
Ready?
Yeah.
Pledge?
Colonel, will lead us in the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Ward.
Thank you. Approval of the minutes of the 18th and the 21st of October.
So moved.
Seconded.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Vote yes. Manifest $88,674.21 dated October 28th.
So moved.
Seconded.
Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Old business. The video procedure, which is sent to all department heads, all committees, all
Do we have
boards.
any response on this yet?
Not yet.
I think we should wait on this then.
And the other thing that I wanted to ask you about was town hall cameras. So one solution to the videotaping here in this room and the auditorium is to get an official camera up on the ceiling to take audio and video. Is that what the board would like us to at least get quotes on, to look at, or?
Well, that's what I asked you about 2 months ago, so that's what we should be looking into.
I'm
We have to
sorry,
go through-
Mike.
No, it's all right, go through the process. So I think that's a smart move, because of the fact that you can't hear most people talking now on the podcast. And I think that would, and we can get a reasonable camera, cameras are not that expensive anymore to do those things. And I think that's the way to go.
I just have an issue with, we just keep getting deeper into this. Now we gotta buy a camera? I didn't think we were spending any money on this.
Well, we weren't gonna
Well,
spend
I
that
think
money.
that what's happened, I think some people forget to turn it on, they take a recess and it doesn't get back on, and with the camera, they would have it on all the time. I think we ought to see what the cost is. If the cost is prohibitive, that's a different story.
Different story, I agree. Some quotes on it.
Bob, do you disagree?
I'm just against,
Okay,
I'm just against spending money.
yeah, okay.
I understand it completely.
All right. I think it doesn't hurt. First, I think we should get a quote.
Mrs. Hebert?
May I suggest that the email that went out last week was a draft policy to the departments? Have you received feedback yet?
I just asked her that
No,
question.
just asked the question, said no.
Okay.
But we asked, Mike said,
Okay,
Mr. Marconi said to hold on.
so what I'm suggesting is, because the departments have the draft policy, monthly meetings are coming up. Before any money is spent over and above the 2 iPads, which are very expensive equipment, I think the feedback on the draft policy from the department should come before any hardware is, I mean, certainly research if you like, but, you know, it's time is money, and before you do that, I think feedback from the departments would be appropriate.
Thank you for your opinion. Okay,
So you wanna table this matter until we get more information, Mr. Chairman?
No, I would like to get a quote so we know which way we're going. We're gonna put it off another month and we don't know. It's prohibited, but in the meantime, we're not doing anything about the policy until we get more feedback. We'll
Right.
get feedback.
That's fine. So you
That's
don't
what I
wanna table it, but
Yeah, well, yeah.
what do you wanna do?
I don't think we need a motion, do we? Just understanding that.
Okay,
Get
that's
quotes
fine.
and-
Which is agreeable,
Yeah.
so no problem.
So we're getting quotes, then we're gonna wait till the department heads report in
Yeah.
what their thoughts are. All right.
Right.
Okay, next is the old Parsons Comcast, $2,800 a year.
Isn't there cable right across the street in the old town hall?
Yes,
And isn't there cable in the library?
yes,
Why are we putting cable in that old building?
I can certainly ask the HDC. I guess they want to have access right there.
But how, my thing is, how often will they use it? An hour a week, an hour a month? 12 hours a year for $2,800? When you put something wireless in there or something you can,
Router.
whatever they call them, you know, to make it work, I just think it's a stretch to have 3 town buildings that aren't overly utilized, 2 of them especially, and spend $5,000, $5,000 to $6,000 a year for cable. Yes, this isn't a public hearing, by the way. I mean, I don't mean, you can ask your question, but we're not gonna answer, go back and forth, have a dialogue.
Oh, then never
all the
mind.
time.
Never
No,
mind.
please ask your question.
No, never mind.
Okay, so I will pass that on to the Historic District Commission.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cybersecurity analysis review and approval.
The board has in your packets the detail on each of the cybersecurity analysis proposals that were received. The Adam is the one that was chosen, and actually you don't have Adams on here. They were the least expensive of all of the proposals. We also had a chance to review this with John Chamberlain, one of our budget committee members, who is a cybersecurity expert,
Right.
and he didn't find any issues with the proposal.
Well, that was gonna be my question, because I saw his note, which I thought was very, very good.
He's also agreed to do some cybersecurity training for the town.
Good. All right, so what was the, we don't have the quote in front of me here.
You have the Adam proposal right behind the spreadsheet, and the very last page contains the total
Oh, I'm
amount,
sorry. There it is.
$6,900.
Right.
This was the, like I said, the low bid of all the proposals.
Mm-hmm.
We had $3,500 in our budget.
Mm-hmm.
Adam is fine with moving forward with only spending $3,500 this year and waiting for the final phase next year.
Okay,
As
that was my other question, okay. We need a
They,
motion to move forward with it?
Yes, please. They also service the city of Portsmouth
Right.
and are consultants to Primex, our property and liability insurance group.
They give data protection, I think they have a finance in.
I'll make a motion to accept Adam's proposal.
I second it.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Vote.
Thank you.
New Hampshire DOT.
The board has your copy of the agreement that DOT wants the town to sign and agree to. Of course, we've just received notice that the depot is one of the 7 to save buildings in the state. I do not know the details of that program and how much the town would be eligible for
Mhm.
under it.
All right.
We're gonna let you just table this until we get all the information.
Thank you.
Absolutely, I'm gonna table it until we get more information, because I don't, not enough here for me to decide on.
And that article was pretty vague.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was.
Coleman Drive. Did we
In your packets,
vote on that?
No, I wanted to talk about
Coleman
that.
today?
No, did we vote on the
Oh, the
tabling?
No, you don't have to
I don't think
vote
you
on
have
it, it's an automatic set, you don't vote on it.
So we did meet the safety committee,
Yep.
met. We're looking into a few things, apparently, on Little Bay Extension, they put some sort of a shield or a guard. And we're gonna see if we can do the same thing for that light, if that'll suffice. I think from the unofficial poll I've taken, the residents are leaning towards, the majority of the residents on Coleman wanna keep the light. So in an effort to make the person who wants the light go away, if we could put a shield on that. So I know did we reach out to our, bucket truck guy, whatever, what was the name of that company?
no, I was waiting for the selectmen because I thought the highway safety committee had recommended a survey. And I just was double checking before I sent out a survey, but,
We can do a survey, I've kinda done an unofficial one, and
I have too, and he's right what he's saying.
I think the majority is they wanna keep the light. So I think at this point we move forward with seeing what we can do to, put a shield or something on the current light, and see if we can deflect whatever unwanted light there is.
will do.
It's working other places, and hopefully they'll resolve the situation.
I thought that was somebody offered that to them early on and they didn't want the shield. but I'm not sure.
Yes,
I remember
they
the-
wanted it removed.
Yes, yeah,
Hmm.
okay, well,
With the problem of an accident happened down there once before, it being dark on, that's dangerous, so.
Yep.
I understand.
We're meeting again next week, so.
John?
When they put the new poles down that street light's up higher
Yes,
than
it
the
is.
old one.
Is it?
Yes, it is.
So being an LED light, it's gonna give off more of a cone
Right,
than it would have. Might wanna see if we can just lower it. If there's any regs that they have to be at a certain height, cause when they put that new pole in, that light went up higher.
Hmm.
So that might be one thing just to look at, cause I know when the old light was there, the old pole, that light was down.
well, if they put the shield on and try that. and
Yeah,
it
the
doesn't
shield
work,
probably
then-
would divert some of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, then if it doesn't work, then maybe we can address dropping it right after. But I think a lot of people like to keep the light gauge on. because-
I was actually gonna ask for to put more lights on Coleman Drive, cause
Now, see, that's normally what people ask for, right? Exactly.
okay, we'll take, the committee will take that further.
Thank you.
Thank you.
New business, election budget.
Town clerk tax collector has given you an elections budget as well as her budget for your review. Of course, this year, we're coming up on 3 elections in 2022, which will increase the salaries lines. And also, we have a new employee. The town clerk has hired Deirdre Link to work as is asking for your approval to hire Deirdre Link, I should say, as an assistant to her office, in accordance with the budget.
All right, so we got two in here, we got the election, and we also got her,
Right.
her office in here.
The election doesn't reflect any of that in here.
Right. Well, we ran into this problem once before with 3 elections.
That would come under her regular one.
Right.
And she never told us, 18,975, I think the total of the 22 budget. Any numbers in here, so.
Hmm.
It will definitely be higher, something for you to consider. It looks
About
like just the
$1,000
salaries
more.
alone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, then we go to the tax collectors. Let's see. Some of them are hieroglyphics.
Well, I noticed this is reflected downward somewhat, but I think that this, one of the smart things that we did as a select board was to, put it up to bid and change the assessing department a little bit. It's proved to be very financially good for us, so I think that was a smart move.
We're not that far yet, Michael. Oh, tax collector one.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah, that one up.
I jumped ahead of you already.
Yeah, yeah,
The brain does work like that sometimes.
yeah, there's a new line item there for an additional employee of 15,000.
Right. There are a total of 85,000 between the salaries and wages this coming year, which will definitely increase the budget.
Mm-hmm.
But it was originally approved by the budget committee. They understood that they were just approving a partial year and that this year would be a bigger hit.
Seems like it's been going up and up and up every year, and I understand some of the stress of the job is kind of tough. Wow, we keep jumping, now we got 3 people in there.
We just have to accept it, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so we don't
No
accept, we
action.
just,
No action at this time.
no,
Next is finance and assessing.
that's the one I jumped to, I apologize for that.
Oh. That looks like that one went down,
Yeah, it did,
17,000.
no.
No,
Not bad,
no, I'm
but
sorry.
with us, one of us, $100 a year.
Yeah. It's the same.
Oh, I'm down, sorry, yeah, I just turned the page.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm down to $900.
Right. Anyway, if you guys have questions on it, we can go over the, whatever.
Yeah.
street lighting,
Continues to decline based on the new LED lighting.
great.
Yeah. We did that, with the streetlights we were pushing, almost $28,000 for streetlights. And now what are we looking at here?
Half of that.
Half of that.
And this is our last year of paying off
Right, the
those.
$20,000 that we as taxpayers put forward
Right.
to make this project go, and now it's starting to show us some good return on the money, so the townspeople should be really happy with that. And we're doing the same thing now with town buildings, correct?
Right.
That should see another, helping on that, and I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman.
No, please, no.
That was one of the good programs that we did, I'm very happy with that.
Pest control, the next one?
You know, I don't sit in this account, sir.
Huh?
I may be a pest, but also.
Oh, we wanna control it though.
We've just left, of course, pest control is our annual
Right.
cost for mosquito and tick spraying. And then health has been reduced to $1, just like last year, in the event someone did need blood testing. And finally, welfare has been reduced. Now that COVID has dissipated, we haven't seen the need for any welfare expenses to speak of.
So we're gonna keep it at that minimum amount? I think
Just in
that's fair, I
case.
think
Yeah,
that's a
oh
fair
yeah,
thing.
you gotta have something there.
If we have to, we can always fund it.
Land management.
So, portable restrooms.
This is
Who
also-
knew this was going to be such an exciting topic? But we have spent a lot of time, or Eleanor and Sue have, getting quotes for portable restrooms to make sure we're getting the best deal. And we can unequivocally
Yes.
say, we're getting a good deal on these. And of course, the budget committee had us remove some of the
Yeah.
porta potties, and we have
Right.
at, Fox Point, they had to be transferred from Old Town Hall for September Fest, and those will all be leaving the town now, except for tennis courts and
Transfer station,
transfer
just
station.
for the winter. But we did,
Nobody has your bathroom?
well, it's just easier to, sorry, crack myself up.
I don't see that too often, you're too wound up over there.
And this year, the expenses were a little bit more because we added a porta potty to the Old Town Hall for summer camp. They asked us to
That's
do
right
that
too, I
for
forgot
them.
about that.
So we did that, so we had that added expense also.
So you think you're okay with the budget where it sits here, the coming year?
I hope so.
Yeah.
We just received news today on hydrant rental. The city of Portsmouth is going to be charging us $350 per hydrant. At 87 hydrants, that'll be $30,450.
How much?
Right.
How much?
$30,450.
I'll get you started on that one.
Okay,
And yet, they won't even come out and flush them, right? I was told that one of the reasons why our insurance was lowered in the industrial area, or didn't meet the highest points for the insurance is because the hydrants weren't flushed. So
That's
we're-
right, the fire chief said that.
So
Yeah.
we're paying
Yeah.
$350 a hydrant and they won't even flush them?
Last time we brought the issue up, they went out and painted some of them. First time that's been
well,
done. And then we're in that
Yeah,
contract,
yeah,
is to say we have to
we
pay
sent
this.
just a letter saying that, they're flushing their whole system, which I know they flush in Portsmouth, but I don't know about Brian Greenland, that they should be flushing these.
I think they're afraid to flush our hydrants, because every time they do, they break a pipe.
That's right.
So, like, I had Martha send them a letter about the hump down in the road on Nimble Hill.
Yeah,
You know, their water leak caused that, and you can't drive down there without, going over the hump, so they should come and fix it.
they usually do, Martha usually calls, they're
Yeah,
usually pretty
she
good
did.
about that, right, Martha?
But they haven't, so it's been a week and a half,
They
2
got the phone
weeks,
in Blue
and they
Street.
haven't,
Yeah.
so I
But if you
will,
know, in the original agreement that was put together in 1964, we paid for the pump and they installed them. Now, where anywhere say they pay fees for rental?
Mm-hmm.
That's been my in contention since day one.
Might suggest this.
And I happen to know who the guy was who wrote the contract.
I didn't write the contract. I was there.
I didn't mention any names.
That's my son.
Absolutely.
Let me, excuse me one second.
That's all right, we can talk around it. We can take a 5-minute recess.
Hello?
Great.
Yeah. 5:20. I know we got an emergency going on.
If he's calling from Alabama, so,
Okay, I'll try to get back.
Mississippi.
Mississippi. Mississippi.
Not much of a difference down there, but.
Depends on what state you live in, there's a big difference.
Thank you.
Everything okay?
Yeah, everything's fine, he never calls.
Right.
Zero to wait,
Zero,
so
zero when you
I don't wanna
We're back.
go
So
back.
we
Thank you.
recessed and now we're back.
Right, we're back at 5:21.
Thank you. I might suggest that the election enforcement's tomorrow. They might have a new mayor, or might not, who knows? So maybe it's time to ask for a meeting between the Portsmouth Water, the Portsmouth City Manager, and the selectmen here to go over certain things, like we're going to be starting in Fox Point shortly, the hydrants, any other concern. That was the name of the road. Going on the forest, out of our Arboretum Road,
Arboretum.
and go over, get a little agenda together, sit down again with the mayor, city manager, and go
Agreed.
I think that's a great idea. We did this before, Bob, the previous select board, we sat down and opened the door of neighbors being neighbors with the city of Portsmouth and the PDA and the town of Newcastle and other places, and it worked well. We had good communication. We sat down with the mayor, didn't we?
Yeah.
Sat down with the city manager, and we had a nice conversation.
over.
We had our differences, and it was nice that we could do this. I think that's the right way to do it, so I think that's a great thing to do.
Yeah.
You concur?
Will do.
Okay.
Right,
Well,
the
Kenny,
other
Kenny
thing,
and Martha set that up?
Yeah.
All right, well, good, I'll be there.
Fox Point and, put it down on the house or anything, but on the grounds, should we look into having that go out to have the lawns done and everything else? I mean, we never catch up with anything. I don't know if this is feasible or practical or anything. Doing, that's the only grounds left, I think, that the town mows. Am I right on this, Martha? They do the school, the ballpark, the library, everything.
Cemetery.
you know?
Roadside mowing is what would be left after Fox Point.
I don't know, it's just a thought that it's like, it's unusual, but it's Septemberfest. Well, actually, the last minute, the neighbor down there who went out and cut the grass for us because our equipment broke down. And, you know, we never catch up. It's always the grass gets high and somebody's having a wedding, so we get everybody out and have a drill to do it. Would this save us money? And it's a beautiful spot. I just hate by hell to see it keep going down, down, down.
I don't think we should look into a contractor out there. I mean, Portsmouth Water, we're gonna let them use that big field.
Right,
So we don't know what they're gonna tear up.
right, yeah.
Maybe in the spring, but I thought that was part of the contract for the person who lives there, that they take care of the grounds as well.
Part of it.
Just around the
Yeah,
house.
they're supposed to do the circle around the back field behind the house, and they're supposed to cut around the house and behind the carriage house. Highway is supposed to cut in front of carriage, the two big fields, and then, of course, north, middle, and south. Now, it's really tough, I'll say this, to do south, middle, and north with the Kubota. Frank Burbeck has said that it's, there's some big tractor ruts in
Yeah.
there, and
Well, we used to farm that out, didn't we, before?
yeah, we've always been able to find a farmer,
Right.
Dick Spinney, then the Smiths, they used to do it,
Right.
but we haven't had any luck lately.
I mean, they cut it and they take the hay, right? That was
Right,
it.
or grow pumpkins,
Or
or
whatever, yeah.
whatever they
Right.
wanted.
Which
Just
was
as
in a
long
way of keeping the town rural, but the people have said they wanted to
till we see what's going on, but I just thought that we're having trouble having employees, we're having trouble doing things, I thought this
Yeah.
might be a thing that might help if it wasn't too expensive. Yeah,
Right.
it's expensive these days. Okay, just a thought I'd throw out with that to remember. Anything else in this one here?
Just a follow-up question, Mr. Chairman, what was wrong with the cutting machine, you know? I know that they had to run down and cut it the night before the fun fest down there because it was broken down, any idea what was wrong with it?
No, I know.
It was something with the Kubota itself, the engine.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting.
All right, anything else under the,
Is the hydrant, is that what's driving that budget up though for next year? 'Cause that went up. From last year's budget of 46 to this year's 62, is that what drove that up, the hydrants?
The 46 is an as of end of August, so I bet by the end of the year, we're gonna be close to being at the 66.
Yeah. 2,
it'll be 66,993 with
okay,
a new number for the hydrants.
okay, so I was gonna say, I was gonna be telling us.
So the 22 budget is actually down from the 21 budget.
All right.
Just up $600 or so, almost the same.
Yeah, okay.
the other thing that concerns me a little bit here is the care of trees. We got 12,000, 15,000, we're going down to 10,000. We're always cutting trees, and we never have enough money and enough money in any budget. I just think that, I don't know, I just throw it out,
We will be using all of that money this year.
Yeah.
We've got trees and stumps that are being ground.
well, that's good, that was a good price, I think, about a little over $100
That was a
stump.
good idea, huh?
Yeah,
Martha, a good idea?
Yes, absolutely, and highway agreed to, take away all the extras, so that's saving you about $1,600.
That's okay, every time we can save. But I think that a little low on the trees, I agree with Teddy, although we had it cut last year from the budget committee, cut the trees, remember, they didn't want all those trees, they cut 20 grand out of us. So I don't know what you wanna do, Mr. Chairman, but
no, just, I mean,
I understand your concern, believe me.
Yeah.
And we got a nice tree program going where we were planting trees, and one came down and one was cut down, and tried to plant one.
Right.
You know, cause we have a rural community, but you can only just plant so many, cut so many with the money they give you. It seems like everybody's calling this day and saying, well, this tree's down, that tree's down.
Yeah.
Every day, huh? Yeah. All right, you think you're all right with that?
I mean, just thoughts.
Something to think about, right? The board can certainly revise it before our deadline.
All right,
Okay, the next is, capital outlay budget,
yeah.
debt service, capital outlay.
We've pulled the Coakley line out of debt service because it is not a true debt to the town anymore,
Mm-hmm.
and we've
How
instead.
is the pain in the neck?
We had a funeral for it.
Oh, we wish.
Yeah, probably wish, right.
Favorite landfill.
So what did you do with it?
It's under capital outlay.
Didn't the auditors suggest this now? Didn't the auditors suggest this last year or something like that? To move it?
I believe they did, They had some tweaking they asked us, and I think that was one of them. Good point, Teddy, I forgot about that.
Okay.
So I know, but we're trying to line this up so when the auditors go through, there's not gonna be too many punch list items popping up.
So back on the debt, of course, this year you've got the 27,000 for the 4th of 7-year lease purchase on the fire department SCBA equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And we will be done with the ambulance equipment lease purchase item, so that's been zeroed out.
Mm-hmm. For that.
So that's been paid for. It was a 3-year lease purchase,
Yeah, that's right,
and this is the 3rd year.
thank you for the update.
Capital outlay?
Yeah.
Police Police Department cruiser, 49,000. Capital outlay for the town hall, we're looking at some further numbers, but right now we believe it is at 3744 for the IT, extra server storage, and extended server warranty, as well as UPS batteries. The other recommendations we're holding on until we see what the cybersecurity group says about Armand's recommendations.
Right. Okay, cause Alman's gonna give us a list of what they're gonna recommend, and it'd be smart for us to do it, seems with other towns get nailed. Seriously,
Right.
some serious money, we need to be careful with that. Copley landfill projects, 80,000, are we expecting to do something different there, or?
We just never know what is gonna happen. You'll
Yeah.
recall a few years ago, we got hit with
That was a
several very
surprise.
large
Oh, yeah,
bills.
that was a
All of a
surprise.
sudden, the EPA and DES
Yes.
told us they wanted testing of the brook over there,
Fish
around the
everywhere.
landfill, the
Right,
landfill cap.
I remember the fiasco on that, believe me, I really remember that.
Well, just our sewer guy, he got hit with a $50,000 testing bill from EPA this year.
Who did?
The sewer. Remember, he
Oh,
came in
yeah,
last week in
yeah.
his budget.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That was,
So we have to be very careful, but, I think that's not planning lot, because we don't need any surprises there again, that's for sure. On to roadside collection?
Right, you've already reviewed the transfer station, and we're just looking at the residential waste,
Mm-hmm.
72,000, so holding steady for next year
Okay.
on the collection, and then the tonnage is proposed to go up to $70 per ton through Lamprey Co-op.
Right.
So
Are you
it's a
familiar with that, Bob?
negotiated price.
Okay, then I think you should go to the next meeting with me so I can introduce you to that group, so you'll be able to fill in when I'm not here.
All right.
But you'll like them, they're a good bunch of people. They're tight ones, which is okay too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eco Maine,
And the board has in their packet the new proposed rates for Eco Maine recycling contract. We were pleasantly surprised, are decreasing. And the superintendent is recommending that you all agree to this contract.
is this, we do it tonight, or this?
You can review it and then
I'd like to review it a little bit more.
vote on it at your next meeting.
Yeah, why don't we do that, yeah,
Great.
I'd like to look it over a little bit more. Very nicely done, Martha, thank you.
I can't take credit. Craig really works hard to keep the cost down at the transfer
Yes,
station.
he does, yes, I wanna compliment him on that. I do wish they'd just do a little bit more picking up some of the stuff that blows around down there, but, you know, I don't wanna be picky about that, so. But, I think the service is doing very well. I noticed that the buckets seem to be getting filled up better, people are crushing the boxes and putting things in there, which is what the people have to do to make the compacts work better for us. So, thank you.
Anything else?
That might be one of the things we need to talk about for the capital improvement plan. Getting the power service in there to put a compactor in there.
Last we had a figure on that was 80 to 100 grand, wasn't it? And,
Yeah.
Pretty, that's why we paid back, because the equipment was what, 30,000 or something for the compactors and the,
That's not a bad idea with the capital improvement plan, the only thing that I'd make a suggestion, we find some kind of a grant money somewhere for economic growth or hindrance or whatever. We could find some kind of way to do it, that'd be the smart way to do it.
Yeah.
And then maybe cost the town maybe 20% of what we need, that wouldn't be too hard to fight, what do you think of that?
Yeah.
But I think it should be under the capital improvement plan, I really do.
Yeah.
What do you think,
We'll
Ted?
talk to Craig and tell him, we'd like that put on the capital improvement plan, to look at improvements.
I think that would be a smart thing for the town to do.
And I think we'd be getting way ahead of the power curve with future needs over there too.
Right.
Exactly.
Good suggestion.
Also, have they mentioned anything about, solar energy, Bob, do you know, the capital improvement plan? I did bring it up to them a couple of years ago.
I'll take a look at that.
Okay, ask them if they have any questions, because I think it's a smart move to do. There's enough money around now, and now that the systems have improved a lot, we can get a bigger bang for the smaller bucks that we put into it, so. Because we've talked about this before, that spot up there is a perfect spot to put it, we need to plug with.
We recently had a company come out and give us a quote, and everything about their proposal was that there was no upside for me as the consumer. I paid to put it in, any of the power over
A certain
a
amount.
certain amount, they got it, I didn't get
Correct.
it. You know, so there was no upside for me,
No.
there was
They
all
get the
the
tax
upside
credit
for
too,
them.
they get the tax credit too,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
So that's called negotiation, Bob.
yeah, well,
Sound like this, I think we can negotiate a little bit with that, don't you?
yeah, and there were several people that had approached me about, you know, why don't we have solar on the roof of the fire station? Well, number one, I wouldn't put it there until we decide what we're gonna do with that building.
Right,
But there are some other places in town we could, but I think, our zoning ordinances talk about solar, pretty explicitly.
Yep.
And I think, you know, we should look at our own ordinances and make sure we're not violating them, before we go and do anything.
very good. But I think, like we had talked about before, because of the buildings we have, we shouldn't be really thinking about on the buildings because of when you have to fix the roof, they charge you to take it off and they charge you to put it back on again.
And look, one of the things with the proposal to us, if we put a new roof on, then put the solar system's guaranteed for 20 years, but the roof under it is only for 10 years.
Yeah.
So,
You screw it, but it's right.
so we're like, and we pay to take it off and fix the roof.
Exactly.
So.
That's why I think that mounting it on the ground is the way to go, and have a pole out there with a reverse meter, whatever the way to do it, whatever energy that has, is deducted from what we pay for the town buildings. That's how it's worked other places. Some places does well, some places doesn't do well, but, you know, it's something that should be looked at. I think under the capital improvement plan, somebody could look at that.
I'll bring it up.
All right, thank you.
Anything else anybody wish to bring up?
I just wanted to let the board know you have the Armon Client Overall Network Review for you to look at in your side pocket of your binder, and I request that you go into non-public. I have under 91A3:2, A, C, D, and E.
So moved.
Second, roll call, Marconi?
Yes.
Sullivan, Collins,
Yes.
yes. Okay, does anybody in the audience, attendance, want to have any questions, would be happy to answer.
Martha,
Thank you.
give a call to the Rye Town Hall to see what they use for video recording. Cause they have it set up in that meeting room of theirs, they flip a switch and
Yeah.
there's cameras and audio.
It's all picked up.
Okay,
It's all picked up, it's all, they have cameras to cover, to get everybody, and the audio it picks up pretty good.
Yeah, that's what I want.
Thank you.
Cause that was one thing when they switched over to start videoing.
Yeah,
I'm sure you could probably get a cost one too, one.
Yeah.
Cost to do it.
Does the town have a policy down there, John?
The town hall might, I mean, all the meetings are held down there, so.
yeah.
Thank
you.
And you don't anticipate coming back to public?
No,
Okay.
no, thank you.
Night, Ann.
Good night. Say hello to Dennis for me.